Huntin' Big with Steve Bartilla. Brought to you by
the more we understand our prey, the more we can go ahead and set ourselves up to capitalize on their tendencies. Let's dig into core areas. What I refer to a core area as is nothing more than where a whitetail spends a disproportionate amount of its time. The overwhelming majority of their time. Specifically, when I'm talking core areas, I'm talking during daylight. Okay, I'm talking about essentially bedding areas, daylight bedding areas. There's two types of bedding areas. There's the bedding areas that whitetails use during the day, and there's the ones they use at the beds when they lay down at night that you find along those fields, out in the middle of the fields, around the clear cuts oftentimes, those food sources where that have bedding areas in them and right around them. 9 times out of 10, that's from a whitetail bedding down in the middle of the night and chewing its cud. We know that a core area is where Mr. Big burns the majority of his daylight hours. It's where he beds in the immediate area right around it. Because what they do is they don't just sit there bedded the whole time. They bed, they get up, they go to the bathroom, they may grab a bite to eat or two, bed back down again. Those general areas that they're bedding are their core areas. Home ranges are the entire area that whitetail lives. He does not spend a proportionate amount of time in every area within his home range, no. But if he is familiar with this area, if he has utilized this area on any type of a semi-annual basis even, that's generally speaking part of their home range. That buck fawn, he's born on his birth range. That birth range is where he's born, where mom shows him, leads him around that first year of life. When he goes ahead and disperses, he go at year and a half old, depending on the habitat type, either at a half-year old or a year and a half old. In highly segmented habitat, not much habitat, whole bunch of wide open, tends to be at a half a year. In normal, traditional whitetail habitat, it tends to be a year and a half. Mom kicks them out to go ahead and ensure that they don't breed within their family units. They will relocate on average 1 to 10 miles away. They go ahead and set up a new home range there. Okay, then every now and then an animal will just take off for no apparent reason at 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 years old. If they do that, they will set up another home range. But they only have one home range at a time, whereas with the core areas, they can have multiple core areas at any time. All the core areas are is bedding areas shifting within that home range. 9 times out of 10, it's food related. It's because this food source over in this area over there is so much superior right now than what I'd been feeding on over here, so I'm gonna shift over there. When it's not food related, it's very often cover or safety related. Either us, a bear, timber wolves have shifted into that area, he no longer feels safe there, or she for that matter, they'll oftentimes shift. Or, hey, winter's coming. I need protective cover. This ridge isn't giving it to me. Instead, up here, this is great for staying cool, but man, it really stinks for staying warm. So I seek out that protective cover. That happens to be way over there. And I merely spend a disproportionate amount of time there. All it means is I bed here, I bed there, I bed over there. If we know where he's bedding, she's bedding, we know where they're coming from. That gives us a huge advantage.
Final thoughts. Brought to you by Huntworth.
Understanding core areas helps, because the more we understand about what we're chasing, the more we can use our most powerful weapon, which is this right up here, to strategically analyze and put ourselves in position. Whitetails have one single home range at once. That is merely the areas that they know that they spend some time in. Okay. A core area, instead, is where they bed during the daylight. While a whitetail can only have one home range at a time, they can have multiple core areas. More often than not, it shifts with food, but cover, predators also impact this greatly. The more you understand about home ranges, core areas, all that little stuff, the more we can use our most effective weapon.